Some schools are strict, some schools are strange. You might think that the school you went to, or still attend, had strict and strange rules, but we promise you, there are far stricter, far stranger schools out there. These are school rules you won't believe actually exist. Number 15. Cardboard box to stop cheating students. Cheating in a classroom exam is a common occurrence by naughty students in many schools around the world. Whilst some teachers just keep a close eye on the classroom and even spread them out to prevent cheating, this teacher took things one step further. A teacher had a light bulb moment and got his class to consent to placing cardboard boxes on their heads, making them look like a room full of Minecraft characters in the process. The idea was that the small holes cut out for the students' vision ensured they had little to no peripheral vision. Whilst having no peripheral vision does make it dangerous for them to cross the road, it does mean they can't casually glance at their neighboring students' exam paper. So with no cheating occurring and the students agreeing to the experiment, it's a win-win situation, surely. Well, it might have been if it wasn't for pictures of the classroom full of students with cardboard boxes on their heads circulating the internet, bewildering people worldwide, and angering parents in the process. Claims of humiliation and psychological violence were thrown at the teacher left, right, and center. If the students agreed to it, I really don't see the problem. Whilst I don't think this trend will catch on, I commend the teacher for thinking outside the box. Like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Now it's time for the odd topic. Now, we here at Factsopedia try to be understanding of other countries' cultures, but this school rule from China is bonkers. At a primary school in Jian, Shaanxi province, the primary school kids have to take their afternoon nap on their desks. There are 3,000 children in that school, and they all have to sleep on a desk. That can't be comfy. And what if they fall off? Why can't they have a little bed? One father even told the news he refused to let his kid partake and would bring him home at nap time. Can't say we disagree. What would you do if your kid went here? Would you let them be forced to sleep on a wooden desk? Comment down below with the hashtag OddTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 14. No leggings for female students. Haven Middle School in Evanston, Illinois was the center of media outrage when they told their female students they couldn't wear leggings or yoga pants to class. The reason? Fears of distracting the male pupils and teachers. You'd be forgiven for thinking we'd taken a step back in time. Surely such an issue can't be happening in this modern 21st century world. This rule obviously hasn't gone down well with the pupils and their parents, with them feeling that this is dramatically unfair. Why should the female students be targeted, punished, and held accountable for the behavior of their male classmates? Surely the males should be made to behave accordingly, although I doubt they even care what the girls wear. They aren't completely banned from wearing leggings, however, but whatever is worn on top must be finger length. The school claims this is to keep up a level of decency among the pupils, but it's so out of touch with reality. The next thing you know, the young females will be made to wear a nun's outfit to school. Number 13. Hair-raising rule. Having such rigorous dress codes in a school is a great way to keep everyone's appearance in line, although it does often draw controversy. Caprock Academy of Grand Junction, Colorado learned all about this controversy when it introduced a set of rules for how pupils should look. The girls' school made it a rule that hair has to be neatly combed or styled and should avoid standing out, being colored, or being shaved off altogether.
It made me feel very special and that I'm not alone.
There was a story of a student being kicked out of school for shaving their head in solidarity with a friend who lost all of their hair due to chemotherapy. This story has thankfully been proven to be false, although considering the no shaved head rule is partly to deter students from skinhead connotations, I don't think a female from an all-girls school is a likely candidate to join such a cult or gang. Talk about playing it safe. You might as well say no face tats while they're at it. Number 12. Shirt untucked, go home. When a food fight that causes the police to be called to the scene isn't the hottest news of the day, you know it's been a busy one. 150 kids from Duncanville High School have been suspended due to them violating the school dress code. You'd assume it would be a really serious matter if it means someone has to leave the school site because of their appearance. Well, apparently not. At Duncanville High School, students can face a one-day suspension for having their shirts not tucked into their trousers, for example. The list goes on to say that the pupils must also wear collared shirts, non-sagging pants, use a belt, and wear closed-toe shoes. On one Wednesday, 150 pupils were suspended from the school, which contains 3,700 students. As if having a large chunk of your school sent home wasn't enough, the afternoon erupted into a food fight which crashed into the halls of the school and ended with a riot almost breaking out as the local law enforcement was called. Imagine being an officer sitting in a police station and being told you have to rush and break up a food fight riot at a local school. What a weird world we live in. On the plus side, if you fancied a day off, you could always just turn up to school in a t-shirt and sandals and be home before the first lesson has even begun. Number 11. Rules in Scripture. If you thought your school had a strict set of rules, just wait until you check out that of Oral Roberts University, who take discipline to a whole new level. So usually in a school or university, there are rules about students' appearances or general behavior. But Oral Roberts University takes things one step further with a set of rules written in Scripture. They start off sounding like a set of rules drawn up by a parent for their misbehaving child. No theft, lying, dishonesty, gossip, or profanity is tolerated. And then it starts to get weird, particularly when it explicitly says that adultery, homosexual behavior, premarital sex, or drunkenness aren't allowed. No sex or getting drunk? It sounds like this university throws the wildest of parties. It also says no backbiting. And before you start thinking it means biting your mate's back, Google informs me it actually means essentially talking bad about someone who isn't present. But honestly, with the amount of crazy cult-like rules put in place by this university, nothing surprises me at this point. And I suppose if you choose to go here, then fair enough, but imagine being forced to attend by your parents. I think I would rather skip college altogether. Number 10. Ashbury University. If you happen to slip up in your moral standing, then be prepared to feel the full weight of the Almighty on your back if you go to Ashbury University. Ashbury University is a religious school where the pupils praise their God on the regular and hold themselves to a high moral standard to try and be better people. Sounds pretty standard and rather pleasant. I'm sure going to school here is decent, as long as you stay on the straight and narrow, that is. If you were to violate the moral code of the school, then you'll find yourself being confronted with some serious disciplinary action. If you offer yourself up for forgiveness and mentorship, then your punishment will be lessened, however. Such rule breakings include the consumption of alcohol, which to many universities would almost be a requirement. Imagine having eternal damnation to hell being the punishment for your rule breakings at university. That would be enough to make anyone act like a saint. If you choose to go to Ashbury University, then you know what you've gotten yourself signed up for, so you can't really complain. At least you'll come out of it a squeaky clean human, or have the rulebook thrown at you and spend your days in detention or being expelled altogether. Number 9. Suspended for not shaking hands. There's discipline, and then there's the prison-like environment of Carver Collegiate Academy. You might think your school is bad, but even the strictest teacher around wouldn't get suspended for not shaking everybody's hand. You heard that right. And the craziest thing is that this is by no means an anomaly. The list of ridiculous rules put into force at this academy includes raising your hand up straight in class and walking within guidelines taped to the hallway floor.
The teachers, a lot of them actually do care. The person who's teaching you.
Unbelievably, this rule of keeping in between the lines shows no signs of mercy. with a pupil from the academy given a detention for not keeping within the lines, despite himself adjusting to wearing crutches. Surely they must have realized they were going a bit too far, but no, they actually threatened more punishment when he pulled out his phone to tell his mom about the injustice. Sounds pretty horrible. Pretty sure the military would be a walk in the park after spending your formative years here. Pupils and parents are starting to speak up against this draconian rulebook put into action by the school. I'm surprised they don't have barbed wire, armed guards, and the students in chains and shackles. Number 8. Japanese school. They say once you visit Japan, you realize how little of the world you actually know. This eye-opening experience can be felt through looking at the Japanese school's culture, which is vastly different from that found in the West. For starters, they have their own weapon in the classroom to defend themselves against knife-wielding intruders. I'm being deadly serious. They have this long, pole-like weapon called the Sasumata in every classroom. Hanging on the wall, ready for use, this medieval approach is unusual, but I'm assuming pretty effective. The thought of leaving a classroom of kids to themselves would strike terror in any Western teacher's heart. However, in Japan, students are left to themselves if their teacher is absent, with bizarrely no substitutes being brought in as replacements. With the pranks and tricks that get played on substitutes around the world on the regular, it's probably not the worst decision. Still, leaving a group of teenagers free reign of a classroom sounds like every high school teacher's nightmare. In Japanese schools, you are not allowed to use a mobile phone anywhere on the premises. While most schools don't allow pupils to use phones in the classroom, Japanese schools don't allow mobiles to even be used on site. Sounds pretty extreme, and I can imagine that starting a riot in the hallways if it was introduced over here. Number 7. Detention for slouching. Getting detention means you've done something bad and broken the rules of the school. But imagine getting one for slouching. I'd be in detention every day if that was the case. Well, that's the reality for students at Achievement First Crown Heights Middle School in East New York Avenue. One student who has clashed with this set of rules on numerous occasions is Gianna Boone. Gianna has been in detention nearly every day this year, so it should come as no surprise that she's not a big fan of the rules, which have punished her for humming and even failing to look her teachers in the eye. Whilst this might seem extreme, Gianna's grades have also taken a hit for her battle with the law, with her falling from A's to C's. These pretty ridiculous rules lead to pupils being given demerits, which translate to 45-minute detentions for every 3 picked up. With students punished for putting their heads on their desk or not facing forward while walking in the hallway, it can be easy to land yourself in the detention hall here. If you complain about the demerit, suck your teeth, or roll your eyes, then you could be given an immediate 45-minute detention from the get-go. If I were Gianna, I would learn these rules and avoid the punishment, unless she secretly likes sitting in detention every day. Number 6. Movies are banned. Imagine being told by your college what movie rating you can watch, making anything above a PG rating banned from viewing. That's a no to any horror movie night then. The staff at Ozark Christian College must be having a laugh with some of their absurd rules. I'm pretty sure you could have more fun in a hospital than at this college. Alcohol and tobacco are banned for anyone, even if you're of age. You're not even allowed to attend parties, go to the casino, or even eat at a bar or restaurant if alcohol is present. At least this is one college where trying to recover from a hangover is not needed. But imagine if at your university, mixed groups of males and females were only allowed to mingle when in the presence of a chaperone, aka a teacher. That would seriously suck. While you're dancing on the dance floor or trying to talk to your crush, your teacher's just watching you from afar and subconsciously reminding you that you have a test on Monday. Talk about being a killjoy. Number 5. Thai schools. Most schools have rules about the length and style of pupils' hair, but there are none more severe than the rules in Thai schools. rules. If you were to go to school in Thailand, be sure that your hair meets their requirements, or you might have to humiliatingly get your hair cut publicly by one of your teachers. The ideal haircut for men in Thailand is similar to a military crew cut, while the girls are made to have hair which only reaches their earlobes. Fail to abide by these rules and you will feel the full weight of the rule book, with mutilation happening accidentally in rare cases. That's right, in 2004, a teacher ended up chopping off a student's earlobe when they were aggressively cutting their pupil's hair. How gross. Unsurprisingly, this brutal hair length rule came into action in 1972 under the military dictatorship of Tanam Kittikachorn. Understandably, the people of Thailand are starting to have enough of this 40-year-old rule, with recent calls that the regulations deprive the students sovereignty over their own bodies, with the Association of Youth for the Abolition of Student Haircut Rules taking the hair rules to court. My high school will just tell you to get a haircut ASAP, or at the most, send you home. Imagine having your teacher give you a fresh trim. Can't imagine the end result will be much to brag about. Number 4. Big Brother School. Having a school which promotes the living of a happy, healthy, and morally sound life is obviously a great thing. But this school in Florida is giving me some serious 1984 Big Brother vibes. The Orwellian Florida Christian College involves itself in every single nook and cranny of its students' lives. Nothing is off limits, as the school sifts through its students' media collections and even bans certain music, magazines, and video games from being consumed. It doesn't end there either. If you were to make the boring choice of going to this school, you won't even be allowed to watch movies that are above a PG-13 rating or go dancing. Yeah, dancing. I can somewhat see where they're coming from with the other rules if you want to keep a clean moral slate, but dancing? What could be so wrong with dancing? If a pupil dances in the shower, are they gonna get dragged out in cuffs and sent to the detention hall or something? Getting a job of any kind is hard, but imagine not being allowed to work anywhere where alcohol is being sold or drunk in any scenario. Sounds pretty harsh, especially when you consider catering is a go-to for students strapped for cash. On top of this, you are not allowed to have premarital sex or have an abortion. Although these are pretty traditional Christian views, you better make sure you read the fine print before you sign up to go to this Floridian Christian college, especially if you like tequila and gambling. Number 3. Brigham Young University. You've probably heard of the pretty wild religion of Mormonism, or at the very least heard of the play written by the creators of South Park, Book of Mormon. So it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that Mormon school rules have made their way onto this list. At Brigham Young University, they were certainly not afraid of stepping on a few toes and ruffling a few feathers when it came to their rulebook being written. The rulebook is called the Honor Code, and the name should tell you from the get-go that these rules are not to be messed with. When they start to mention what the students are allowed to consume, that is where I draw the line. As you should probably suspect, the consumption of alcohol isn't allowed, but the banning of tea and coffee? That is unbelievable. I don't think I would have gotten any of my qualifications if it wasn't for the energy-inducing effects of coffee or tea during a late-night library cramming session. For those wanting to take on Movember, I have bad news for you. The Honor Code doesn't allow mustaches beyond the corner of the mouth. But to be honest, apart from when you're raising money for charity, I wouldn't be angry if mustaches were banned full stop. 99% of people just can't pull them off. They just look like a creepy lifeguard whilst hoping to look like Tom Selleck. Who knew having coffee and growing a mustache was such a sin? Number 2. No protesting. Being devoted to a religion you love can be a great thing, but when choosing a university to attend, they tend to be the strictest ones on the planet. For example, imagine being banned from protesting in any capacity anywhere on the planet. Liberty University has an extensive list of behavioral guidelines which their pupils must abide by. Some of them undoubtedly are on the strange side. If you are a person who holds political social causes close to your heart, then look away now. Quite remarkably, all political and social demonstrations are completely banned on campus and are heavily discouraged altogether. Imagine deterring your students from any form of protest anywhere, even if there's blatant injustice going on. If you're looking to throw a birthday party at Liberty, then you'll have to allow a +1 for some chaperones to observe the gathering if males and females are attending. Apparently, having groups of friends who are male and female is not normal psychosocial behavior, with the mixing leading to premarital sex and dancing, which are alleged affronts to Jesus. Come on, I'm sure Jesus wouldn't mind a boogie or two. Surely the Macarena gets a pass. Number 1. Babysat at work. You better enjoy praying if you attend Bob Jones University, as there will be plenty of it in your schedule. Bob Jones University requires all of its students to attend regular church, Sunday school, Bible conferences, artist series programs, and Vespers services on campus. This religious angle to things paves the way for some extreme and unbelievable rules, such as not being allowed to drive a car. The student experience here sounds pretty intense, with the teachers seemingly untrusting of their young adults. You are not allowed to get drunk or dance sensually at this university, with even the handling of pornography being banned. With no gambling or premarital sex tolerated, to say this isn't your regular university would be an understatement. Students typically like to keep a side job to keep the money flowing in, but if you're a freshman at Bob Jones University, then you must consent to be chaperoned by a prayer captain or one of their assistants or an upperclassman while working. Basically, you must agree to have a babysitter. Not sure that's gonna win you many coworker friends. Also, if you have a car you are looking forward to showing off at university, then you'll be disappointed to hear that freshmen and sophomores are not allowed to drive to work. Not sure where in the Bible it says that, but okay. So the next time you complain about your school's rules being a pain, just know that it could be so much worse. What is the wildest reason for someone receiving detention you have ever heard? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.